Dear George and Luke,
Hello, dear.
I had an affair.
Oh no, how could you? What's wrong with you? You want us to solve your problems?
What are you drinking there? Tell the lover boys and the lover girls what you're drinking.
This is actually the source of all of my powers. It is entirely...
The elixir.
Yes, the elixir of life, infinity. It means all of us are going to live forever. Simply because you've seen it, it means you now have gained infinite life. But me, it has given me the ability to answer the problems of a person who has had an affair. So, let me just take a sip and then I'll be able to give you a solution to this person's malfunction. The real thing.
The real thing. Right.
It's the real thing.
I had an affair with a married man next door. Well, not me. This person. He told me he had no relationship with his wife.
Hang on a sec, before we move on. We
No.
like fairs, right? Why do they call it an affair?
Fairground. Well,
Why do they call it an affair when
because there's stuff going on. It's drama.
But it's almost celebrating it. Like everyone's going to want to have an affair when you call it an affair, and it even sounds like it's fair. Like, it was fair. It was an affair. It was fair. It was like going to the fair, and it was perfectly fair.
An unfair.
Yeah, they should call it. I partook in an unfair, or maybe it's not unfair, and that's the whole problem. And the reality is they've put it into the language unconsciously to let us know that maybe affairs are fair, whereas monogamy and saddling people into this no, you can't know, you are imprisoned, entombed together in that which is called a relationship. Maybe that's wrong. Can we find anything in like marriage, if we look at that as a kind of marriage?
Oh, right,
like
okay.
To
so
mar something.
marry age. Let's move on, George. He told me he had no relationship with his wife, but now he's dumped me. And I'm convinced I can hear them having sex through the adjoining walls.
Well, they are a married couple.
At night, when our street is quiet, I can hear them laughing together, and I know then the joke is on me. I'm 32 and single, told you. While
This is a man?
No, I reckon it's a woman, but let's find out. While he is 43 with 2 young kids. Our year-long affair started when I locked myself out and he came to my rescue, prizing open a window. Oh, that is a manly thing to do, isn't it, George? His family...
I'm going to say something here. Right? Just chuck it in. I had a woman once where I did exactly... Hang on a second. Because I did exactly this for a woman. We didn't have an affair, but we did end up in a relationship together. And I was convinced then, as I'm convinced now, that she did not get locked out of her house, right? It was just a ploy so that she could knock on my door and say, can you help me? I've locked myself out. Is there any way you can get into that window? Have you got a ladder? All that sort of thing. And I'm quite convinced that it was just one of a few ways that she managed to get my attention and allow us to spend some time together. And this woman here is not going to say, whoa, he was well sexy, and when I saw him with his wife, it really turned me on because she's really sexy. And I thought, I wish I could have a man like that. In fact, I wish I could have that man. And maybe this woman thought, tell you what, I'll just pretend I'm locked out on that Sunday when I know that his wife is away, right? And then when he's all macho and he gets his ladder and he climbs into my house and, he has to let me in, and I say, oh, thanks so much, come and have a cup of tea. You're right, there's nothing slutty about that.
No.
Women are very good at that. See, she doesn't want to come across as a slut. She's like, I had to say thank you. Right. He saved me, let me in. So, come in, have a cup of tea, let's celebrate. Don't worry, your wife's not coming back for a few hours. And then
I think it's very clever.
One thing led to another, and before I know it, I'm like writing to George and Luke. But anyway.
That's a beautiful story.
I didn't. This woman's going, oh my God, he's just giving away all my secrets. But sorry about that, honey.
So our year-long affair started when I locked myself out and he came to my rescue, as I said. I offered him a drink to say thank you, hello, which turned into 2.
See, drinks. I was right. See,
you've met this woman.
The magical potion, it just happens. Of course she offered him a drink. Yep. By the way, she would not have offered him the drink had he not just saved her.
Of course
he wouldn't. Women need to have an excuse to, so that they don't feel slutty about it. Like, no, I'm not. I didn't ask him out because women don't ask men out.
He took.
Some do, and someone's going to get angry with me right now. But I'm going to repeat it. Sperm approaches the egg. egg doesn't approach
Can
the
I ask
sperm.
you? No, let me.
But-
On this, I wanted to ask you about this before.
And women know, but they
No, you're
want to
right,
be able
but
to ask
George,
the men
can I
out,
just
but
say
they're like,
something?
would you just ask me out? How do I get you to ask me out? I know, I'll let you into the house and then
But
I'll
I have had women ask me out before,
Yeah, I know, but you know,
And-
once in a while, look.
and I think it's quite cool. I'm just gonna go out and say it. I'm gonna put it on record. Here on George and Luke Unfiltered, right?
Ask a guy out, girls.
I mean, look, I'm not saying to do it, but I'm saying on the occasion when it's happened to me, I was like impressed.
I've had
I was
it,
impressed, George.
and
I was impressed.
Did you go out with her?
One of them was fit.
Did you go out with them?
Yeah, I went out with her.
What about the other one?
A lot of the time, they're not quite my type.
So I've
Right, listen, it depends, right? I'm not going to fuck about. There was a woman who asked me out recently, a young lady. She was very, very nice, but I knew I wasn't that way inclined towards her. And so I let her...
It sounds like you're gay.
I know, so I said towards her. So I let her down, but I let her down very gently, because that's what a man does. That's what a man does. A man lets a woman down very, very gently.
Women ask me out
I thanked
now
her very,
again,
very much. And I
right?
said, look, it's very kind of you to think of me that
actually
way.
guys in drag.
You're a lovely girl, but I'm kind of seeing someone at the moment, which was kind of sort of true. And she was a lovely girl. But the fact that she had the courage, but George, the fact she had the courage to say to me, would you like to go out sometime? I thought that took, for want of a better word, balls.
And therein lies the problem. Carry on
Right,
reading.
all right, well, anyway. So, I offered him a drink to say thank you, which turned into two, and we ended up having sex on the couch.
Fucking hell, man. Jesus Christ. 2 drinks and that is like...
I'm anybody's, right?
I'm going to say this, by the way. The drinks that she offered him were not, chocolate milkshake. They were magical chocolate milkshake.
Yeah.
They were some kind of alcoholic beverage. Now, why would they be
Whiskey.
an alcoholic beverage? It doesn't have to be whiskey.
Sambuca.
It could just be a bit of wine. And one of the reasons is because, women are going to hate me for this video, but it's true. Come on, I'm just revealing all the secrets here. But so women have a thing.
Well, they're not secrets anymore, then, are they?
They ain't about to be. So basically, a woman will... I'm not saying this in a malicious way, by the way. Men have to play this game as well. It's a pain in the arse.
Disclaimer.
It's a constant tug of war between the sexes, right? Men, we're just an awful side of the species, but women,
We are.
you've got your own manipulative ways as well, and you drive us as mad as we drive you. Anyway, so but what they'll do sometimes, listen, men, you're gonna need this one.
Tell us.
Is sometimes a woman wants to go on a date, right? And she says, let's have a drink, right? Or the man is smart enough to say, let's have a drink, right? And one of the reasons women go for that over let's have a hamburger, right, and some fries, is because once she's had a sip or two of wine, just a sip, she can say to herself, oh, it's not me acting crazy. Oh, it's not me who's deciding to have sex with this guy on his couch. It's this. It's the booze. And I've only had one, but it's gone right to my head. And that way she can feel more okay about it. So if she wakes up in the morning, she's like, oh my God, it's terrible. Well, at least I could blame it on that. At least I could blame it on the fact that I got locked out of my house.
Blame it on the boozy.
One thing just led to another, and before it had nothing to do with me, right? So that's kind of, all I'm saying is, look, when you offered him a drink, you didn't offer him, I've got some milk in the bottom of the fridge.
Some orange juice.
Yeah, got some orange juice.
I've got some vodka. Drop of vodka in the orange.
Careful of that one, ladies.
Well,
if your husband is going next door, just
be aware of that. He might.
But whatever, we're all human. I'm not saying that she's a bad person.
Well,
I've read a lot of books written by women giving advice just like this. And what I'd say is, I get you were attracted to that guy and you thought, my God, he proposed to that woman. She said yes. That means he must be special. He must be a catch, right? And all of that. You thought, oh my God, you couldn't resist him. And he liked you clearly, right? It does take two to tango, not put any blame on her. But if you get into an affair with a next door neighbour, you got to expect some repercussions, because that is an absolute personification of shitting where you eat.
Oh my God.
Well, of course you're going to hear them through the walls. They're married.
You would never
and
do
they're
that, would
your
you, George? You'd never sleep with someone in your area where you live, would you? Fuck
Not
yeah.
anymore. But it is, well, I mean, look, next door neighbour, married. I mean, give me some credit, Luke.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do nothing like that.
He wouldn't do that.
Too much hassle, too much of a headache. Don't go out with somebody like that.
You don't do that. But listen, George, let me get to the end of the bloody tale, right? So, this person needs help, and they're literally watching this with bated breath. They're hoping to get, what they need from it. So let's give them what they need. Right.
Move house. Go.
He told me he wasn't happy with his wife, but wouldn't leave her because of the kids. Since then, we'd have sex in my flat whenever we could.
I'm glad he wouldn't leave him because of the kids.
I ended up falling in love with him. He told me he felt the same. But last week, he messaged me to say he couldn't come over as his wife had invited friends round. It made me realise how lonely I am. The next day, he ended our relationship saying his wife was growing suspicious. He said I deserve better than him, but I feel used and hurt. He told me he and his wife didn't have sex, so I find myself listening through the shared walls to see if he lied to me.
Why would he be stupid enough to lie about that anyway? I mean, he probably is lying, right? Saying, no, it's only you. You know, me and my wife, we've never had sex. Oh, those 4 children, forget about them. No, it's only you, because he's trying to hang on to you, right? But really, listen, guys, this is a bit like when guys say to girls, no, it's only you. And they're not married and cheating. They met a girl they like. And they're saying, no, so no other woman in the world exists for me. I only have eyes for you. And in reality,
only have eyes for you.
You want to take,
And
you want to take a leaf out of the Wisdom of Women's book, right? If there's a book called The Wisdom of Women, I'm going to write it.
He's going to write it.
It's going to be called
The
Wisdom of
Women.
Women's.
The Wisdom of Women. So it's going to be called
The Wisdom of Women.
Wow. Wisdom of Women's.
Yes. But anyway, so the wisdom of women is that oftentimes a woman's sitting with you on the sofa, right? And she's your girlfriend or she's your wife, and you're watching something, and on the telly some guy pops up and she goes, oh, he's attractive, isn't he?
They do. They like to do that, don't they?
Yeah, he's a good looking bloke. Right.
But
and men generally don't do that.
I don't do that.
You don't sit with women and go, oh, she's
hot.
Look at her ass.
No, you just don't do that. That would be rude.
Spread them. Oh, Jesus Christ. Got her cheeks on that. Right. We don't do it because we don't want to hurt their feelings.
No,
but
we don't.
Women do it on purpose to get under your skin and let you know that they are still sort of looking. So you think, fucking hell, like she goes out, she looks at blokes. What am I going to do? How do I keep her around? Anyway. So the point is men, you want to take a bit of that wisdom as opposed to being this guy being like, no, I don't even like my own wife. I mean, it's ridiculous. Even for him, if he wanted to maintain attraction, he should be like, yes, she's my wife. We have children. We're a family, right? What do you mean, do I have sex with her? She's my wife, right? You don't have to say anything else.
So you think he's telling the truth?
My point is, this woman would be more attracted to him if she thought he was sleeping with his wife. And as soon as she hears it, she's like, oh my God. Like,
that's true.
So I'm more attracted to him.
So listen,
this is the whole problem with don't shit where you eat and don't sleep with a married person, because
don't do that.
Look, if the marriage is over, if it's hopeless, if they're miserable, if they're
he
falling
did
apart,
say that. He said that they weren't really together anymore. They were just sort of living together for the kids, but they weren't sort of together.
That's what he said.
But
you can't expect. Look, let me put it aside, right?
At the end of the day, and
temptation is temptation, and it's real hard when they're the next door neighbour. So let me have some forgiveness for this woman.
Forgiveness.
That is really hard.
Sprinkle a little bit of forgiveness on you.
That is like,
it is hard.
That is like living with.
It's not easy.
That is like living with a delicious chocolate drink on the coffee table in front of you 24 hours a day and not being able to have a taste of it. Ooh. Very difficult. It'd be difficult for anyone.
Oh God.
Right? And for her,
now I want it, but now it's true.
And
I don't even like chocolate milk because you're drinking it and you just described it. Now I want some.
You can't have any. It's mine.
This is what I'm saying though. And that's what happens, right? That's the human mentality, right? She's gone, oh, he's back with his wife. I want him. Why does he don't want to be with me? But if he properly separated...
He wasn't back with his wife. He was just
he was saying they weren't sort of together. They were sort of living together for the kids.
How does that come up in conversation? I mean...
Well, George, I mean,
hey, you got a spare ladder? You got a spare ladder? I'm locked out of my house. Yeah. Climb up there for me. Oh, thanks, mate. How's it going? Well, me and my wife, we ain't had sex in like a year and a half. I mean, does it just come out that quickly? Like, what about?
Listen.
What's your name, by the way? Nice children you got. How's little Billy doing? Is he doing good? Seems like a smart kid. Yeah. How's the wife?
But
She's
you know what,
right.
George?
Haven't had
When
sex
people
with her in
start
6 months.
boozing, though, George, when people start boozing, people start letting things go. People start letting things slip. They either talk more rubbish or they talk more honesty. But either
probably
way,
had about 2 sips of a Purdy's and told him it was white wine. It's gone right to my head. Oh my God, my clothes have just fallen off.
Listen, he told me, right, right? So she's listening in.
Love
right?
women, by the way. We love the fact they
Oh
do
God,
that.
we do. We absolutely love.
As soon as a woman starts drinking wine, it says, "Oh my God, look at that." Oh,
So
yeah.
I think this woman. I'll be honest with you. I think this woman's gone a little bit mad. So she said it's never very clear, but sometimes I think I can hear them being intimate and laughing together.
All right.
I tried to bump into him in the street when he comes home from work.
Oh.
I hope he'll see me and change his mind. I'm torturing myself, and I know it's not healthy. Well, thank God she knows it's not healthy. But it's not like I can forget him. He lives next door. Can you help, George and Luke?
Move. Read a bit of that again, because there was a bit where I was about to interrupt you, and then I didn't.
Yeah, you were. All right, really. Well, because you always do. That's why I was like, I'm not going to let him this time, ladies and gents.
Too late.
He told me him and his wife.
What? See, there was something I was going to say. Next time I was going to...
You always do.
He told me he and his wife didn't have sex, so I find myself listening through the shed. What? But that's a bit of a turn on, isn't it? Jesus Christ, listening to him having sex with his wife. That must be both hell and heaven at the same time.
I don't know, probably more hell.
Oh no, that's it. I think I can hear them. She said I can hear them laughing and being intimate, and I feel like they're laughing at me. So they're not, right? That's one thing I want to establish to make you feel good about yourself.
They're not laughing.
They're not laughing at you, right? Because his
Why would
wife,
he tell his wife?
His wife doesn't know.
Of course
right?
she doesn't know.
So that is in your own
That
head.
is madness.
Your own mind, right, is like firing. The synapses are going off in all the wrong directions. And the other thing is, now this is a bit of a strange one. We're going to get a little bit deep. We're going to go a bit under here. But sometimes we do things as a defense mechanism to actually get us to leave. Now, it's very difficult when you're in a house and maybe you've got a mortgage or you're paying rent. You can't just easily pick up and leave.
No.
But part of you sometimes will see negativity where it isn't there, so that you think, oh my God, I shouldn't put up with this. How dare they make fun of me? And then it allows you to go. I'll give you a sort of case in point here, right? Two people fall in love. One of them, right, goes, I don't know if I love you anymore. Kind of met this other guy, right? Mm-hmm. And that happens. And then this person here who was madly in love with this person, what happens is the love turns into hate. And then the same thing starts to happen here. The love turns into hate. And it's like, how can two people who loved each other unconditionally, just about, right, then hate each other as intensely as they loved each other? Because hate is a survival mechanism that allows them to both move on, because it would be hell if you tried moving on while still loving the person as much as you did when they, when it was at the best. If they're not with you anymore, what is the benefit of loving them intensely? You'll never be able to find anyone else. So instead, the love turns into hate, so you can move on, leave them behind, and then meet somebody else. So there's a little... That makes sense?
That does make sense, George.
So with this...
I'm thinking about past relationships where you do end up sort of,
For a short period of time, at least, when you're sort of breaking up, there is an aggression, a hatefulness in you, which you don't want.
Period. Doesn't last forever.
No, it doesn't last forever, and it's funny that, isn't it? Because when you get to that certain point where you have made peace with the fact that it's over,
the memories become kind of nice.
Yeah, then you start thinking they're a pretty cool person, but it just wasn't meant to be. You know what I mean? You just sort of let it go.
Unless you're like, in a cell someplace because you had 6 pints during that hateful period and a very sharp knife, and you made some serious mistakes. Don't do that. Be aware, as much as you hate your partner because they left or blah blah blah, give it about 6 months, and before you know it, you'll be like, oh my God, we had a good time. Now I've met someone else. I'm quite happy now. It's all right.
So anyway, listen, let's get back to this wonderful woman, right?
But
so
I'm just saying, they ain't laughing at you. Stop worrying about it.
They're not laughing at you. Exactly. That's what I want to. They're not laughing at you. Do you think she should move?
Yes, you got to move. You got to move. Listen, baby honey, right? Do we know what her name is?
Baby honey, baby.
Anonymous. We're going to call you Anonymous.
No,
Anonymous.
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 MISS, right?
Miss Anonymous.
Miss Anonymous. Okay, so here's the thing, right? Actual advice, right? So think of it like this. A tree, okay?
All right, I love a good tree.
A tree is in soil over here.
Yep.
And this is bad soil. This soil has no sun and no rain, okay? And the tree is trying to grow, but it can't because it doesn't have the necessary things, right, in order to live. So what happens when a tree is in soil with no sun, no rain? It wilts, it sort of crows over.
It gets all out of shape and bent and out of shape. It can still potentially grow, but it won't be healthy. It won't be strong because it won't be cultivating the light from the sun, George.
Exactly. And it ain't got the right nourishment. Now, you pick up that tree, okay? Exactly that tree, you just dig it up by the roots and then you put it in better soil. Pick it up, carry it to a different field, put it in that soil with the rich nutrients. And what happens to the tree? The tree will then bloom and flourish. Blossom, grow, be tall and as strong as it can possibly be. You, right now, are the tree in the bad soil.
You are.
Now, the problem is you're also addicted to the person living next to you. I say addicted. You could say in love.
You're listening through the. She's listening through the walls.
Yeah,
George.
it's like a junkie going like, oh my god, is that cocaine fix going to come in? Right. It's an addiction. It's love. Whatever. The point of the matter is just like freeing yourself of an addiction, which is very, very hard. You're going to go through withdrawal. In the long run, if you can get yourself into greener pastures, you will flourish and bloom and grow strong all over again, or at least as strong as you can.
Can I say something on this, George?
There is one other thing. Hold that thought. Put it in a box. We'll take it out in a second. But you also have to be aware. It's annoying when people say, you have to be aware. But anyway, be aware that just as you're addicted to him, people get addicted to an environment that is secure. So in our ancient history, it was very hard to find...
What, caveman and cavewomen?
Them not, yeah. It was hard for them to find an environment that fed you, kept you warm, kept you safe, you had a roof above your head. That's rare. Nowadays, it's relatively common, okay? So you being in that house, your brain is attached to, there's a roof above my head, there's hot running water, right? There's lights, there's food. Why would I ever leave? Your brain is like, stay put. Even though you know there's better things out there, you know there's better homes, countries with better weather, your brain is like, stay put because you're surviving here. This is good. And if you were one of your ancestors 100,000 years ago and they found anything like you got, they'd be like, we are not going out there because anything could be out there. Predators, danger, right? Aggression.
I could be out there.
I wouldn't say poverty because money's an invention too. But point is danger lurks.
Danger! High voltage.
Over the hill. Exactly that. High voltage. So you get addicted to that too. And that's why it can be so difficult to pick yourself up by the roots and go and leave. Because you're addicted to your environment and the person next door. But if you can do it, and I would suggest the easiest way, right, if you got the funds, is holiday. Even if it's one weekend, just go away for a weekend and witness how quickly that guy starts to disappear from your thoughts when you're surrounded by new people, new environment, new town, right? Maybe even new weather. Just notice how quickly it is. And if you can make it longer, if you can make it a week, 2 weeks, experience it, because that will make an actual move easier when you're like, bloody hell, I had a good time when I was away. I want more of that.
Oh yeah.
Freedom. And then that will give you the help you need to be able to go, do you know what? I can do it. I can move. I can be happy. I can meet someone.
Great shout.
And you deserve it. You deserve somebody who is not married with kids next door, right? Pulling at your heartstrings 24 hours a day. That's not good. We feel for you. I feel for you. It's not nice. Now, what were you going to say?
Thanks, George. So I just wanted to say also, and I have a habit of doing this, and I think we all tend to do this a lot of the time as humans. All the medicine's gone down. So listen, what happens is, right, you imagine how good it's going to be or how much what you expect it to be, but it's in your head, right? So for example, you meet a girl, you meet a guy, and things are quite nice or you quite like them, but things don't move on for whatever reason. Maybe they're seeing someone else, whatever, the timing's not right. So you don't end up having this love affair with this person. But in your head, your mind is just the master of imagination, and it imagines that this woman, this man is the perfect person, and you guys are going to roll off into the sunset, and you're going to have a wonderful life together, and you're going to live with perfect acquiescence with 3 children, and it's going to be lovely. But guess what? Your mind is often full of shit. Like, honestly, your mind just speaks so much nonsense. It creates all these stories and all these pathways that actually don't exist, right? This person, this guy, could, like, he might not be the right guy for you. In fact, he is not the right guy for you. He's not the right guy. He's completely not the guy that you want to be seeing for a long-term relationship. You want to be with someone who is unattached, who is listening to you, who sees you for who you are, for the beautiful flower, the rose petal that you are blooming into, and he should be there for you, to cultivate you, to spread water all upon you, and to allow you to grow and to nourish you. And that man is out there somewhere.
Bring forth liquids.
Yes.
What was that word you said at the beginning of this show?
That was another one. It was called, that word was...
Deliquescence?
Deliquescence, George.
Deliquescence.
Deliquescence. You need
Means
deliquescence.
to summon liquids. Something that, you know, if you really want a solution to your problem, send the phone number, right? He'll take you out.
I'll sort you out, love.
And before you know it, you'll be learning more than just new words. You'll be having new experiences. You'll be feeling feelings that you did not even know existed. And you will forget that man's name. You'll forget the sight of him. You'll forget that he even exists. You won't even remember how many children he has.
But
you
seriously,
won't even
that
know
happens,
what
George.
wallpaper you had in your
that
house.
happens, right? You meet someone, right, and it's like they're your world. And literally, after a while, if things don't work out, you don't get to see them again. You meet someone else. And suddenly they're just a figment of your imagination.
You're like, oh yeah.
Who?
I remember that.
Yeah.
What was that about?
And then one day you see them, and you're walking down the street and you see them, and they literally, it's happened to me. They don't compute. They're the 1 minute they're the love of your life, and then time goes by and you move on because you have to move on because it was the right thing to do to move on. And then you see that person again, and you just see him as a human person, and you're like, hello, and then you say goodbye, and you get on with your merry way, and you don't get that feeling. You don't get that tingling sensation in your testicles anymore. And it's
I
nice.
always get that tingling sensation of testicles.
You wanna see
Morning
that
to night,
doctor?
24 hours a day, never goes away. Yeah, need to call a doctor about it.
That's why I'm drinking that.
Now, I'm just going to throw out one
need some cranberry
little
juice.
thing in regards to what Luke just said there. Little bit of a recommendation, because why not sprinkle the world with some, actual artistic integrity here? There's a brilliant short story, really short. It's about 3 pages.
Who wrote it?
Ray Bradbury.
I thought you might say that, George.
And it's called The Laurel and Hardy Love Affair. And it's about a man and a woman who befriend each other because they both have a passion for Laurel and Hardy. And it covers their entire romantic relationship in about 3 pages, maybe 4. And it covers the falling in love, and then it covers the breakup, and then it covers exactly what Luke was talking about. And it's such a beautiful, powerful story. I've given it to people, and I've read reviews by people who've read it, and I don't want to ruin it, but they talk about how on earth did someone manage to convey something as serious and long-term as a long-term relationship in just like 3 or 4 pages, and somehow bring out all the necessary emotions right down to like you reach the final few lines and it's like you've watched a 2.5 hour movie and you want to cry, and it's like it's only been like 3 or 4 pages. So the Laurel and Hardy Love Affair, I'm not going to ruin how he ends it or anything, but it's really beautiful. You don't have to sit there and read War and Peace. It's not a novel. It's very, very short. Look it up. Google it, maybe you can find a download of it, or even better yet, find a book that is published in, collection of his stories, and get that. Anyway then, I think that was great. I think they're done. I think her problem is solved.
She is well and truly problemed.
Oh, you got a drum. Have you not got a drum? Dum-ba-dum-ba. Problem.
Thank you, kind sir. Solved!
Hey, you there, I've got some really exciting special news. If you're interested in all the kind of things that we talked about in that video just there, you're gonna love this. There it is, look at that. It's written by me. It's called A Cure for Loneliness, as you can see right there. And I spent about a year of my life writing it to make sure that it would be good and fun and accurate and entertaining and all those things that make something, worthwhile. And I'm extremely excited to say that people have actually responded really well, and they've been reading it all over the world. I've gotten reviews from people who say that they've read it twice. Somebody actually wrote to me recently to say that he'd read it 3 times. I was flattered if anyone had read it once, but to read it 3 times. Some excerpts of things that people have written to me about it are, it's a great and fun read, not the tedious intellectual kind. For me personally, this was a reminder that reading can be an awesome pastime. A lot of books are boring as fuck, but not this one. Thanks very much. And anyway, those are only the first responses that I got. Quite recently, somebody wrote to me from China and said that he's now in a relationship with a girl he met on a train. All he says, because he read this book, and he said that it inspired him to go over to a girl that he liked on a train, yes, a public train, and start speaking to her. And now he says they are in a relationship and it is going well. So if that kind of thing interests you, or maybe you're just interested in the kind of psychology that, you know, we talk about on these videos, you're going to get a lot of it in depth, including my own experiences and how I kind of came to learn all of this stuff and reach this place myself. You're going to get all those stories within this. It's fantastic. Trust me, it's the best book you're ever going to read in your entire life. I wouldn't put a year of my life into writing something worthless, would I? So, you know, jump in, have fun. You can find it on amazon.com.co.uk, any Amazon, even the Amazon jungle. It's only about $10, I think it's $8.99, something like that, with free shipping. So crack on, have some fun, and, you know, let me know what you think. Till next time, bye.